Today I'm going to kind of go through very quickly these loosening exercises that were taught by Mr. Huang in Malaysia. I didn't learn from him. I learned mostly from Danny and from Meisner. So I modified them. So I'm just doing this for my students. You should look at Adam Meisner's version for the more complete version, but here's the first one. So put your feet parallel, like on train tracks, and comfortable under your armpits, not too wide, not too skinny either. And then bend your hips a little bit, and then tuck your chin, lift your spine, and then lift your hands without lifting your shoulders, and then drop them on either sides. And then you let the hands kind of move your navel over. Don't try to twist the navel around too much. Just try to let, basically the release help you turn. So release one hip to sit on the other. That's the kind of easy way to do it. And then when the hands get there, they'll go into the leg. You'll turn with the leg that has weight. So when you put weight on one side, it's going to turn you the other way. Now, some people do it the other way. That is, you turn into that full hip, and that works as well. You can do it that way. Both times you want to kind of go to center for a sec and then turn. Go to center for a sec and then turn. So the whole time you're lifting your spine and dropping your hips and shoulders. Okay, and then this one, a lot of people do it different ways, but this is one way of doing it. Okay, that's number one. Number two is you kind of do the same thing, but you go forward and back with your hands. So you lift one hand, then drop it. And so the main thing here again is not to move the hands without the legs. Try to move the leg forward, and that moves the hand forward. So if you move your left leg forward, your left hand moves, and vice versa. And then you just alternate those. So the hand is moving with the leg. You're not moving the arms separate from the legs. So you have to generate the movement by moving the leg forward to move the hand forward like that. And then you just get very fluent at it, and you keep dropping your hips and shoulders and lifting your spine, tucking your chin, lifting your tongue on the palate, and lifting up your perineum. Lift up your insteps a little bit, and then move your thighs kind of like cylinders. As they move forward, they kind of rotate left to right depending. You're not shifting your weight in this one too much, just a tiny little bit maybe. So you're just loosening again the hip joint and the shoulder connection. Don't lift the shoulders or the hips to do any of that. Third one, you just tap. So I do 3 up and 3 down. There's a lot of different versions of this one. This is cross hands, of course, in the form. So you're just tapping your shoulders to check and tell them to relax, basically. Then you go 3 up and then 3 down. 3 times up, 3 times down. Like that. And you can augment all this with the breathing if you like, but better just to breathe naturally at the beginning. Next one's like this. You're going to just spread everything apart. So don't just move the arms. You're trying to move your hips and shoulders apart with your hands helping you. And then if you can move more than your hips and shoulders apart, like your knees and elbows and wrists and fingers and toes, everything, great. And then do the other side. And this is white crane in the forms. But you're just trying to isolate that kind of feeling of that spreading apart. So all these are just to open the body, not really Tai Chi, but they're just to open the body, to help with Tai Chi. Next is to open the ribs, so you just lift up. And you have this in Indian yoga. You'll see this one in a lot of Taoist exercises, Qigong exercises. Okay. So you're just opening the ribs, and again, you can always augment with the breath and do bigger stretches, as whatever you feel comfortable with is good. At least try to move your arm over your head a little bit, and then open your ribs. And like that. Another one. Next one is this one. You turn the hands up and bend the hips and touch your hip joints. This is to loosen the erector femoris connection to the hip joint at the front here. And you tap it pretty good. You don't want to hurt yourself, but you're tapping it to kind of tell it to release a little bit. And that attachment gets very tight, especially when we bend the legs a lot. So, good to have that one loose. Next is for the fingers. And again, you're trying to shake water off your fingers. Trying to get it off, just get it off. The ligaments and the tendons in the fingers go all the way up to your neck. So it's good to have the hands loose. The next one, you're going to try to lift up your body off the ground with your hands, basically. And as you do that, you feel your spine go with it. Your spine kind of goes up. And you can inhale there, and then you drop the hips and knees away from the hands, but don't stop lifting the hands. Then relax. And then you do it again. You lift the hands up until you feel your heels come off the ground. Then drop the hips and knees towards the ground, but keep your hands going up. So I'll call that the vertical stretching or spreading or elongation of the spine. Then we're going to do this horizontal spreading from the inside out. So you're trying to move the hips and shoulders apart with the elbows and knees kind of helping you. And you pull them apart as far as you can, and then you add the vertical component. You drop the hips and knees towards the ground. And then you release it. And always notice the feeling with the release. And then do it again. And again, I'm going through these very quickly, but you can take more time with them at home and drop the hips and knees. Next one is you lock the knees and you're going to rotate the hips in a circle without bending your knees. So don't bend your knees in this one. Try to keep them locked so that you can feel the femur in the hip joint and feel the joint and the femur kind of move together. And if you feel any impingement somewhere, slow down a little bit and stop and kind of check in with it. Oh, how's it doing today? Okay. Then we're going to rotate the knee in a circle like that. You can also just rotate the heel of your foot. You guys can't see that in the video, so you just can rotate the knee in a circle too. And this is a lotus kick in the form. Good to do both sides. Most forms only do a lotus kick on one side, so this is good to do on both sides. And you can go inside and outside with your rotation, or just put the toe on the ground and rotate the heel. Either way. Whatever feels good, that's the one you do. The one you need. And then the neck is troublesome, so put right hand down, put your left ear to your left shoulder, and then stretch that neck. And again, you'll feel some tightness maybe, and then when you do, just let it release. Tell it to release, let it go. Just let it create some space. It's really important. And then we try the other side. So again, you feel the tightness, and then encourage the release, and feel some space in that neck. And then look up, and then you're going to feel maybe some tightness in the front of your neck, and then feel some release happen there. And then you look down and tuck your chin as far as you can. Then you feel a release going down your back. And then what we're going to do is squat. So you toe out your feet a little bit and just drop straight down between your legs if you can. And then you push your palms together, put your elbows in your knees. Can't see that too well. But and then you breathe in the perineum, so you want to let the breath sink into the perineum. And then once you feel it there, kind of generate that feeling going up the spine and through your organs. Until you feel the spine become light with the breath, like it becomes activated by breath. So you start at the bottom and work up. And then once you're pretty clear about that, you can stand up. And feel the spine really lift up with the breath again. And then as you do that, lift your spine and then drop your hips and shoulders. So the inhale is the lifting the spine, so the breath goes down. The exhale is the hands come together, hips and shoulders drop. So like that. That's the pattern for all the forms. So try to practice that as much as you can. Big inhale, big X. Big in. And again, start the expanding properties of the forms, which is everything's expanding in all directions at all times. So when the hands go forward, the spine has to go away from the hands. And when the spine goes up, the hips and shoulders have to drop. Also, the flesh is heavy, and so it's going into the ground, and the bones are light, coming up towards the sky. And then you have Tai Chi Chuan, and then you push the hands forward and fold at the hip joints, but keep lifting the spine. The spine is floating upwards. And then you're going to paint the floor with your fingers. And I'll just do a few because you can't really see too well. But you want to move your lower back or your lower gate, we'll call it. You're done. You're to move your shoulders. You don't want to move your shoulders ahead of your hips, for example. So the hips move the shoulders. Then you put your hands down. You do the same thing, but now you move the navel in a circle around your belt. Again, using the hip joints, the guo, to move the navel in the circles to the right. And I would do maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 times to the right, and then go the other direction. And this is for the second gate, the Ming Men. So you're trying to open that mid gate in the spine. The last one's for the upper gate in the spine, the Ni Wan. And you want to open that by moving your shoulders side to side. And your spine, don't collapse your spine at any of these. Lift the spine, keep lifting, please. And then what you're going to do is tuck the tailbone a little bit and then roll up the spine on the sacrum slowly until your spine is completely upright. Then you drop your hips and shoulders, lift your hands, lift your spine one more time, and then you're ready to do your form. Okay, thank you.